Title: The Mustang, the Militia Mom, and Me. There's a special kind of dread that creeps in when you see your garage door wide open, even though you know you locked it. That dread turns to nausea when the gleaming '67 Mustang fastback you were told never to touch is just gone. Minutes later, she rolled by. Not just any she. Her. Wendy Darlington. Wendy, with her immaculate bob haircut and sunglasses that screamed suburban overlord, was grinning like Cruella de Vil on Discount Dalmatians. She cruised past in my car. My federally tagged, hands-off by order of the DEA car. Wendy had no idea that she had just committed grand theft auto, federal grand theft, from a property still under DEA monitoring. And no, this wasn't a Netflix show. This was my life. Let's rewind a bit. Yep, that's me. The guy whose private water well Wendy illegally tapped into to water her manicured flower beds. What did I do? I flushed her system with treated sewage. And folks, that was just the beginning. See, this whole suburban Cold War started when I moved into my late uncle's house, left to me after his very sudden funeral. His name was Roger Bradford, and he apparently liked three things: vintage cars, good whiskey, and running contraband across state lines. I learned the last bit from two stone-faced DEA agents who showed up at my door a week after the funeral. "You're now sitting on a hotbed of frozen assets," one of them told me. Turns out, Uncle Roger's prized possession, a cherry red 1967 Mustang fastback, wasn't just a collector's dream. It was federal bait. Untouched, pristine, and completely off-limits. I was told not to drive it, not to sell it, and sure as hell not to start the engine. It could stay in the garage, but that was it. Still, it was a beautiful car, just sitting there, gleaming like a ruby in a treasure chest. And that, unfortunately, was enough to set Wendy off. I didn't know I had moved into the suburban Hunger Games. Our neighborhood, Maplewood Drive, operated under something called the Heritage Neighborhood Committee, which sounded like a glorified book club until you realized it was a rebranded, unregistered HOA led by none other than Wendy Darlington. She didn't like unregistered vehicles, unauthorized garages, or, apparently, new neighbors who didn't look or act like everyone else. I ticked all three of those boxes. It started with notes. Handwritten, passive-aggressive letters folded neatly and taped to my door. Violation of HOA Vehicle Code Section 1.2.4.2, they said, underlined in red, with unnecessary use of bold caps. I ignored them. But Wendy didn't just get mad. Wendy escalated. One morning, my mailbox was stuffed with glossy pamphlets, custom printed, mind you, with a photo of my garage. You could barely see the rear bumper of the Mustang peeking out. Still, she had a whole rant typed up: how abandoned vehicles attract criminal behavior and lower property values. There were clip art illustrations of broken windows. I decided to try diplomacy. I walked over one afternoon while she was pruning her hydrangeas like they'd offended her personally. "Wendy," I said as calmly as I could, "that Mustang is federal property. It's evidence. I can't drive it, move it, or sell it." She didn't even look up. "Then it shouldn't be in a residential neighborhood. It's in my garage. Not visible unless you're trespassing." She smiled that tight, forced smile people use right before they ruin your day. "We'll see what the board has to say." There was no board. But Wendy didn't believe in facts, only in enforcement. She started taking photos of my house daily. Once, I caught her measuring my grass with a ruler. Then came the demand: relocate the vehicle to an approved storage facility or face corrective towing. That's when I installed the security camera above the garage. The DEA had encouraged it. In fact, there were concerns that someone might come looking for the car. Good thing I listened, because on a perfectly average Tuesday, I went out for groceries and came home to hell. My garage door was wide open. Lock, cut, chain, dangling. Mustang gone. I dropped everything. Eggs exploded on the pavement. I ran to the garage, heart pounding, thinking maybe I was losing my mind. Then I heard it. The purr of that Mustang engine, coming down the street. And there she was, Wendy, in my car, wearing sunglasses like she was filming a shampoo commercial. She waved. She waved like she hadn't just committed a felony. Then she parked it in her driveway, wiped the fender, and slapped an HOA sticker on the windshield. Approved vehicle. I walked back inside, silent, shaking. Then I pulled up the footage. Wendy, bolt cutters in hand, calling a tow truck, leaving a handwritten note inside my garage. "You're welcome." Eyesores aren't allowed here. I didn't call the police. I called the DEA. Agent Langford didn't curse, but his silence said everything. I sent him the footage, the note, the timestamps. He told me to sit tight. Don't confront her. We need to see how far she'll go. And folks, she didn't disappoint. Over the next few days, she held a neighborhood meeting to celebrate the removal of visual blight. She gave a speech. She even sold the Mustang to a collector. The DEA let her run with it. Meanwhile, I recorded everything. Langford called. We got her. They traced the sale, money laundering ring. The Mustang was bait when he had taken the hook. But I wasn't done. I started reporting every little violation of hers. Illegal landscaping, excessive noise, code violations on her Lexus. Small stuff, but each a paper cut. 2 nights later, unmarked vans swarmed our street. The DEA had made their move. Wendy? She was still pretending to be queen. Until the festival. She brought the Mustang to a community heritage day. She gave a speech, pearls and all. Then Langford stepped onto the stage. Wendy Darlington, you are under federal investigation. She laughed. I'm the president here. And now you're a guest of the state. Handcuffs. Silence. Some people looked away. One guy muttered. So that's what the Shrimp Tower was about. The fake HOA collapsed. Wendy was charged with multiple felonies. A few weeks later, Langford called again. You kept it safe until she didn't. The car's yours. They delivered the Mustang to my driveway. The same gleaming beauty. Tag still hanging from the mirror. I took it for a slow drive. Neighbors waved. One brought cookies. Another asked if I'd enter the local vintage show. A week later, I got a pink envelope. From Wendy. Typed letter. Blame. Half apology, more blame. I filed it away. Then came the last package. No note. Just a bolt cutter. I dropped it in the trash. Because you can break a lock. You can steal a car. You can play pretend queen of a cul-de-sac. But eventually, someone puts you in your place. And sometimes, all it takes is a camera, a classic Mustang, and a whole lot of patience.